This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. About half of people in their 50s have less saved for retirement than many experts recommend, yet many of them still retire on time. In this episode, we'll explore how starting late can quietly become an advantage if you use the right levers in the right order. 41% of robo-advisor users are 45 or older. That's not a glitch in the data. It's a clue that late investors are quietly rebuilding their futures with tools that didn't exist when they first started working. In this episode, we're going to move from feeling behind to thinking like a portfolio designer. Instead of obsessing over the years you don't have, we'll focus on the levers that work especially well when you're starting your serious investing in your 40s, 50s, or 60s. Supercharging contributions, squeezing fees, and using technology to automate the boring but crucial parts. We'll look at how real numbers change when you add catch-up contributions, how diversified funds can simplify your life, and how to manage risk when your retirement date isn't far away without swinging for the fences. Here's the twist. Most late investors focus on the size of their account, but the research quietly points somewhere else: the shape of their plan. A 55-year-old with $185,000 isn't just deciding how much to save, they're deciding which knobs to turn first: tax breaks, fees, or risk. Think of this episode as laying out a control panel. We'll look at how tax-advantaged accounts can reorder which dollars you invest where, how low-cost funds change what you keep after markets move, and how technology can enforce the rules you'd promised yourself you'd follow anyway. Here's where the numbers start doing heavy lifting for you. If you're 52 with that typical $185,000 balance, the question isn't, is this enough? But, what combination of moves shifts this the most in the years I have? Think in terms of stackable upgrades rather than one magic fix. First, tax rules. Past 50, the IRS quietly hands you a bigger shovel. In a high-tax state, maxing pre-tax options can cut your tax bill enough that your after-tax lifestyle barely changes even as your savings rate jumps. Many people never run the numbers. A 24% federal bracket plus state tax might mean every extra $1 you contribute only costs you 65 to 70 cents today. That's an instant, guaranteed discount on investing for your future self. Next, how broad you spread your money starts to matter more than how clever each pick looks. Diversification for late starters is less about owning everything and more about avoiding the one concentrated bet that can wreck a decade of discipline. Instead of adding new funds every time you read an article, you're asking, does this fund give me a different slice of the world or just a more expensive version of what I already own? A quick check. If two funds move almost identically month after month, you're probably paying twice for the same exposure. Fees become the quiet hinge of the whole plan. That Morningstar finding, that shaving 0.75% off costs can add 5 years of life to a portfolio, translates into simple decisions. Do you really need a 1% advisor on top of 0.6% funds when you could get comparable exposure at 0.1 to 0.2% all in? For a $400,000 portfolio, that difference is thousands of dollars per year that either buys you future flexibility or vanishes into overhead. Think of your asset mix the way a careful chef thinks about salt. The right amount sharpens the dish. Too much overwhelms everything. For investors in their 50s and 60s, that salt is risk. You want enough stock exposure that inflation doesn't quietly erode your lifestyle, but not so much that a bad 3-year stretch just before retirement forces you to lock in losses. That often means using shorter-term bonds, some inflation-protected securities, and gradually adjusting the ratio as your need to take risk falls faster than your ability to recover from it. Technology is where all this turns from a plan into a system. Auto-investing aligns deposits with paydays so you never debate every contribution. Automatic rebalancing quietly sells what's run ahead and tops up what's fallen behind, enforcing buy low, sell high without a pep talk. Fractional shares let you point every stray $50 at your priorities instead of waiting for real money to appear. Put together, these aren't heroic moves. They're rule changes, and rule changes compound. A late start plan often clicks when you test it against real-life trade-offs instead of abstract percentages. Picture a 53-year-old choosing between wiping out a 4% car loan or boosting contributions into a low-cost fund. Running the math might show that accelerating investing wins, but only if the difference actually stays invested, not absorbed by lifestyle creep. Or think about someone in their early 60s with employer stock that's doubled. Rather than selling all at once, they might set a rule. Every quarter, sell a slice and redirect it into broader funds, turning a single, fragile branch into part of a sturdier tree. The companies behind those target date funds and digital platforms publish model allocations and glide paths. Borrowing their blueprints can help you sketch your own, even if you never use their products. Over time, you're less following tips and more running small experiments. If I nudge this setting for 6 months, what happens to my numbers and my stress level? Longer lifespans and new tech mean today's late starter could be tomorrow's early retiree. As policy nudges savings upward and AI tools get better at tailoring nudges, your decisions may feel less like one big bet and more like steering a ship with many small course corrections. Expect products that blend investing with built-in income guarantees, so retirement looks less like a cliff and more like a ramp you help design, and can keep adjusting as your work, health, and goals evolve. Think of this phase as drafting blueprints, not carving plans in stone. As healthcare, part-time work, and even housing choices evolve, your investments can flex with them, shifting to cover a sabbatical, funding a skill course, or backing a move closer to family. Instead of chasing a finish line, you're designing a life that keeps paying you back. Before next week, ask yourself, if I had to choose just 2 investment vehicles from this episode, like low-cost index funds, target date funds, or ETFs, to focus on for the next 12 months, which would they be and why? Looking at my current age and how many years I realistically have until I want to stop full-time work, what mix of growth, stocks, versus stability, bonds/cash, actually matches my timeline and risk comfort? Does my current portfolio reflect that, or is it out of sync? If I diverted one specific expense this week, for example, eating out twice, a subscription, or an impulse purchase, into an automatic monthly investment instead, how much would that add up to over 10 years at a modest 6 to 7% return, and would that trade-off feel worth it to future me? This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on OwlUp.co. Visit OwlUp.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!